Welcome to Forest Chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vanderbay, and in today's episode, we're talking with Ash Boyle about competition gliding. Ash started gliding around 2002 and got into competition gliding a couple of years later. Welcome to Forest Chat, Ash.
Thank you for having me, Paul, and hello to all your listeners.
Thanks for being on the show, Ash. Ash, what is competition gliding? What's it all about?
My pleasure on this cold morning at Parkrun. Competition gliding is gliding, but racing. It's a bit like sailing with yachts. You can do sailing, you can do it for fun, and then you can race them as well. And that's the same with gliding, and it depends on, I guess, what you want to get out of gliding, as if you want to race them or not. So, yeah, it's a little bit hard to explain, but we race gliders normally in the summer months when the thermals are good, and we race them around distance tasks, which can range between 200 to 600 kilometres.
So you get a tow up behind an aeroplane?
Yes, we get towed up behind a Piper Pawnee, which is an old ag towing plane, crop dusting aeroplane.
People will be pretty familiar with those, especially if they've been around a fire. The new ones are all fire bombers and stuff as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and they look exactly the same as the old Piper Pawnees, except they're a lot bigger and they can carry a lot more water.
That's what they need to do their job.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get towed up. How high?
So when we're learning to glide, we get towed up to about 3,000 feet above the ground, and that's where you're sort of learning to do your turns and keeping your speed. But once you start learning a little bit more advanced stuff like, landings and takeoffs, you get towed up to about 1,000 feet, and at 1,000 feet you're pretty much just doing takeoffs and landings. When you get to the stage of racing gliders, flying cross country and competing, you're sort of only getting towed to about 2,000 feet. And from 2,000 feet, you're finding thermals and, on your way.
So the competition over like 200 or up to 600 kilometres,
Yep.
What's it measured on?
So a competition works roughly, so we fly it over a 7 or 8 day period. And each day, depending on the weather, we fly different length tasks. So we generally fly as far as we can for the weather conditions. So we'll have a meteorology guy, and we'll have a task setter, and they'll generally pick where we fly, how far we fly. Over the 7 days, we fly every day, and the guy that does each task the quickest gets 1,000 points, and everybody else just gets a percentage of that 1,000, depending on how they've done relatively to the guy that's won. So the second place getter might get 990 points.
Because he did 99% of the distance.
Yeah, exactly. And then after the 7 days, the person with the highest collective score wins the competition.
So they all add up together to,
That's right.
to create the winner.
It's an interesting sport because you have it over the 7 days, which gets you a variety of different weather conditions as well. So you're flying on the really good days, and you might be flying on very poor days where the thermals aren't going very high.
And does the weather create much variation across the day?
Yeah, it does. Like on some days, you might have a really good start to the day, and then you'll have the sea breeze come in. And the sea breeze effectively cools down the air and shuts down all your thermals. It's not something that happens all the time, but it can result in you landing in a paddock in the middle of nowhere.
And what do you do in that case?
Well, we get the tow plane to come get us, or we have some very good friends that bring the trailer out to the glider, and you take the wings off and you put it in the trailer, and you drive home, and then you shout everyone a beer.
And you're experienced at all of this?
Yeah, I think when you're learning to do cross-country and competition is when you do your most outlandings. As you get more and more experience, you start outlanding less and less. But so I started my gliding at Beverley, Soaring Society, and I reckon I know just about every paddock between Beverley and Cunderton. I landed in quite a few of them, but as I got more experienced and started guessing better where the thermals were, because at the end of the day, that's all it is finding thermals and playing dot the dot. You stop, thermal, then you fly forward. You find another thermal, up, forward again. And it's the guy that can do that the best that doesn't land in paddocks, really. But yeah, I started learning at Beverley, but later on in life we moved down south, so ended up changing club and went to Narrogin. And they're a great bunch of people.
So there's just the 2 clubs, is that right?
There's actually 3. There used to be 5 and possibly more. But unfortunately, gliding's struggling a little bit at the moment with participation and membership numbers. So we've got 1 club at Cunderton, which is a gliding club of Western Australia. And we've got the Beverley Soaring Society at Beverley, and they are the biggest club in the state, and they do it very well. And then I'm at Narrogin, and I reckon that's the best club in the state anyway. Great bunch of people, very small. Oh, not very small, sorry. They're still a large club, but I feel it's a bit more tight-knit. And yeah, ever since I moved there, they've taken me on with open arms, and I just love flying at Narrogin now.
That's great to hear. And actually we have a connection there as well, because one of my former managers is actually flying at the Narrogin Club as well.
Very nice guy as well. Mike's a good guy. He loves flying. He loves just being there. I think it's his social outlet as well. And he's very motivated. He can't sit still.
That's great to hear that he's doing well. I haven't seen him for quite some time, but
he's
definitely
doing very well.
enjoying my time working for him.
Yeah, he's. You'll have to come up there someday, Paul. I'm sure me and Mike will fight to see who takes you for a fly.
That probably means I get 2 flights. Is that how it works?
Yeah, and then you can rate us out of 10 or something.
I'm sure I'll have to use different scales.
Yeah. It's a good hobby. It's unfortunate that not more people do it, but in this day and age where everything seems expensive, it's very understandable why sort of numbers are declining. But as far as aviation goes, gliding's one of the cheapest forms you can find. So if you just want to fly because you love flying, well, gliding's where it's at, I think.
It's the most pure form as well, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. I mean, there are 2 or 3 different types of gliding. You've obviously got paragliding with the big parachute. You've got hang gliding, which looks like you're dangling underneath a kite. And then we just call gliding, which is just an aeroplane with a pointy nose and no engine. And some of these gliders are very high performing. They can fly, 60 metres forward for every 1 metre of altitude they lose.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That efficiency.
Like back in the old days, they'd be very happy if they had something that was 15 to 1. So 15 metres forward for 1 metre down. But these days, everything's getting, very high tech and very high performing. That's another aspect when it comes to competitions in WA, because we're so isolated from the rest of Australia. We have our competitions, we allow any glider to fly in, so we have a handicap system where each glider, depending on its performance, will have a different handicap. So that's what sort of has made my last couple of years quite remarkable, is I'm flying a nearly 50-year-old glider. Some of the pilots and their gliders that I'm beating are, state of the art. They're only a couple of years old and worth 400,000 or so.
But the handicap's the leveler, right?
That's right. That's what the job of the handicap is. The So I'm not sure what the formula is, how they work it out, but they the higher the performing glider, the higher the number. So it all goes on each scoring day into this system, and they spit out a score, and the handicap, the number for your glider, that is incorporated into your score. So the newer gliders have got a harsher handicaps than the older ones.
And that's a good leveler, I think, because you need that when you've got different performance levels. And you go,
and
your
different
plane's
budgets.
pushing 50 years old. So
Yeah.
what's its glide ratio?
So the glide ratio of my glider is still pretty decent. It's 49-1. But some of the gliders I'm competing with have a glide ratio of about 60-1. But it's not just that. These newer gliders get their best glides at a lot higher speeds.
So the momentum keeps them up as well.
That's right, yeah. And the thing that makes the handicaps interesting is that you're competing in any glider, anything that can be worth 15 to 20,000 to buy, and some of these guys have got gliders worth nearly $500,000. So it can be pretty satisfying when you can beat a $500,000 glider in your $20,000 jalopy.
Well, it sounds like a jalopy, but it's well maintained, I'm sure.
Yeah. We pull gliders apart every year and do an annual inspection and grease up everything, check everything for fatigue. It's quite strict, which you'd want it to be. Anything with aviation is very strict.
So what is it about you that enables you to get this performance out of your glider?
I don't know. I've been telling everyone I'm jagging it. I have no idea how I can compete with some of these guys. So one of the top pilots in the world flies from Beverley, Greg Beecroft, and another guy, Norm Block, both fantastic pilots and really nice people too. And they've got, state-of-the-art gliders, and at the state championships last year, I managed to beat them both. So that was good fun. I've had a pretty dominant last 4 years. 4 years ago, I came fourth in the state championships. So that was not long after I got the glider. I bought it from over east. And the year after, I won the state championships. But one of the other top pilots in the state was over at another competition.
So he wasn't there to defend, so to speak?
Yeah, so one of the top pilots was there, one wasn't, so I didn't really feel like I'd fully won it. Then the next year I came second, and again, one of those pilots was missing. It might have been the other one. And then this year, I won it again, and both of those top pilots were there, Greg and Norm, and it's not just them. They're obviously probably two of the best in the state, but we've got other guys, Ben Terrell, Arnold Geelings, Josh Geelings. We've got a father and son who both fly from Narrogin as well, South African fellas. And nice people, also very competitive, very hard to beat. There was also a strong contingent of WA pilots that went over to the Australian Nationals at Leeton this year. So that was fun.
So where is Leeton?
Leeton, it's a pretty large town in New South Wales. They have a lot of rice fields and that in the area. I think it's the brand Sunrice might have one of their big headquarters there.
Oh yeah, okay. I've definitely heard of them.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely big town. There's actually no gliding club there, but they've got a nice big runway. Should say multiple runways. It's all dirt, but it's a massive paddock, and we had our Australian Nationals there, and it was good. I didn't do very well. I came fifth in my class. Josh did very well from Narrogin. He came third in the same class as I flew. And it was a long drive over anyway.
I'll bet it was, yeah. So you talk about classes. Give us an idea of what the classes are.
Right. So I was going to try and explain this. So because of all the different varieties of gliders, manufacturers, we fly in WA, we fly a multi-class championship. So we let any glider fly. And as I said earlier, we do it with particular handicaps. But when it comes to a national or international event, they generally fly in different classes. So over in Leeton, where we competed, there was 3 different classes flying. So we had an 18-metre class, which that's generally your cream of the crop that fly 18-metre.
So that's an 18-metre wingspan tip to tip?
Yes, yep.
And does it need to be more than that or less?
It needs to be less than that, yeah. So
up to 18 metres?
up to 18 metres, yes.
Okay.
And a 15-metre class as well. We had a 15-metre class over there.
Yep. So
which
that's
is the
about
same.
1.5 people shorter?
Yes. So, yeah, 15-metre class competed and open class. Oh, and standard class, sorry. Standard class is 15 metres again, but the wings don't have flaps on them. So 15 metre is the same length, 15 metres, but they're allowed to incorporate wing flaps, which gives you more performance. And then, yes, then we had open class, which has no restrictions. As big a wingspan as you like, wing flaps or no wing flaps, all that sort of thing.
Whatever the designer thinks is the best thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Without any restrictions, right.
Normally, your 18-metre class is the most hotly contested class. It seems to be the most popular. I'm not sure why, but I think the 18-metre gliders are, at the moment, they seem to be the best performing. So a lot of the wealthy retirees, that's the ones they seem to want to buy. I competed in open class because my glider is a 21-metre wingspan, so I can't fit into any other class. But we had a couple of gliders that flew in the same class that were 18 metres as well. So there's you can fly in whatever metres if you want in open class. It doesn't matter.
So that's a bit more like the WA competition, but without the handicaps.
Yes, yeah.
You just take it on the chin, whatever you've got.
I think there may be a handicap system, but I think the handicaps are different to the ones we use for the WA comps.
Well, that sounds like a fair thing when you've got a different makeup, effectively, of the field.
Yeah, yeah. Gliding is a good hobby. It's something I've been doing since I was 14 years old. I went solo on my 15th birthday, which is the minimum age for flying solo in a glider. So, like aeroplanes, you can fly an aeroplane by yourself before you can drive a car.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been that way for a long time, though.
Yes, and is it because of the system that gets you there?
It could be. I mean, we work through a training syllabus with an instructor or various instructors, and when you reach the end of that training syllabus, they send you solo. So we do have what they call a glider pilot license now, which is something that never existed when I went solo. You just got your wings. You got given a set of nice shiny gold wings
from the club,
from the instructor that sent you solo. Yeah.
Oh, okay, from the instructor.
Yep. But yeah, these days you actually, once you've completed that sort of training syllabus, they sign you off and you get I don't know if you actually even get a card. You might get a little card that says a glider pilot license or something. But
what a step down, going from the gold wings to a card.
Yeah, I think you may still get the gold wings as well as your card. I'm not sure. It's been that long. I should have done some research before I came for a chat with you, because I've forgotten more than I can remember. But, I suppose it all starts with, learning, going solo, and then, you work your way from solo. A lot of people think that is the end of the road, but I think that's only the start with gliding. You work your way. After you do your first solo flight and you go back the next weekend to go flying, you'll have to do a check flight with an instructor before you can fly solo again.
Okay.
So once you first go solo, you'll be put on daily checks. So every day that you want to fly a glider solo, you have to do a check flight. And then once you progress, you get a few more flights under your sleeve, they'll progress to weekly checks, then monthly checks, and then annual or biannual checks, depending on how skillful you are or how much trust they've got in you, I guess. But I think cross-country flying is the most fun. And we've got guys that are in the club who they don't instruct, but they actually coach people on how to fly cross-country. So they won't teach them, the basics of how to fly the glider. But once they get to that stage where they want to start flying cross-country, then we've got coaches who specialise in teaching cross-country to students.
Because like you say, getting your wings is only the start.
Yeah, that's right.
You then have a whole new set of things to learn, don't you?
Yeah, and to work towards, yeah. But then again, some people might only just want to go solo and tick it off their list and end it there, and that's okay. But we'd love it if we could get more people to come through the door, learn how to fly, and then want to progress towards flying cross-country and racing. Because racing, I've got to be a little bit honest, it's the only thing I really look forward to each year. Flying around across country just by myself, I find so boring. But racing other gliders and seeing them out in front of you in thermals and having them chasing you around, that to me is good fun.
You're doing aerial ballet at that point, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah. Yep. Or follow the leader. Whatever you want to, however you want to play it, yeah. I generally wait until a few guys start the task, and then I try and keep up as long as I can. And then normally, because my glider's old and I get a better handicap, if I can keep up for a little while and have a good run getting home, I'll beat them on the handicap.
Right.
So,
you've got the competition right there. If they're in sight,
Yeah.
you've got a chance.
Yep. So, and I've told them that because, if you win a day at a comps, they'll give you a day prize as well. So each day we have our presentations, who won the day, who came second and third, and there might be a prize to give out or whatever. But then they'll ask you, so how did you do it? And my normal story is, I just followed everyone around as quickly as I could and beat them on the handicap.
So it's the lead guy who's really setting I'll call it the pace, but it's not really the pace, is it?
No, well, I suppose it's not, because you can all start at a different time. That's the beauty of it. So we all get towed up to 2,000 feet. We release, and once the last glider is off the ground, they get given 15 minutes, and then they say, the start gate's opening, and they give you a 5-minute warning or whatever.
So you're literally all in the air.
Yep, you're literally all, 20, 30, 40 gliders, whatever, all flying around in thermals, waiting for the start gate to open, which is, obviously, it's not a real gate. It's just a line in the on the GPS. And then once that start gate's open, they say start gate open, and then you are allowed to fly over that line. And once you're over that line, that's when the task is started.
And the time for your completion begins?
Yes, that's where, that's right. But if you think the day is still improving, you can hang back and start later. That's fine. You get time for your flight. It's not really, from when the start gate opens sort of thing. It's only from when you cross that start gate.
Right. So, and that also gives you the opportunity to follow the pioneer who's effectively opening the course.
Yep.
Or 2 or 3 or 7 of them, I guess.
Yep.
Depending on how far you can see and how far they get, I would imagine.
Yep.
That you can see what's going on ahead of you in the direction that you need to be going.
That's right. Yep. I think that's, for me, is the best thing to do. You wait until 3 or 4 people have started and they're out ahead of you, and there's nothing better than finding a glider out ahead of you who's in a good thermal. It saves you time because you don't have to find a thermal, and it's more efficient. Just fly straight to the glider. It's a good thermal. Take it. If it's not, you keep going. Because that is half the struggle, is finding the thermal. And
you also have to centre on the thermal, is that right?
That is correct, yeah. So once you've found the thermal, you have to, what they call centre it, because thermals are generally round. You have to find the core, the strongest part. So Yeah, you find the thermal and then you core the thermal. On some days where it's windy, you just can't. The thermals seem like they're square or rectangle. They don't seem to play ball. But yeah, it all comes down to efficiency, how quickly you can find the thermal, how quickly you can core it, and that all goes into your getting you a high average speed.
Because you can't just spend all your time in the thermal. You've got to actually cover the ground too.
That's right.
So it's a real balancing act of getting some height, getting the distance,
Yep.
and then going, I need more height, I need more distance.
Yep, exactly. So once you finally get back from your task, going around the waypoints and getting back to the airfield, because I don't know if your listeners would know, we don't normally aim to land in paddocks. We generally try and get back after we've finished our task. So, it's whoever can start the task, get to about 2 or 3 turn points throughout the wheat belt and get back to the runway that you started from. And yeah, whoever does it at the fastest speed, average speed, after handicap is taken into account.
Right. Now, just to give my listeners some idea on a map of what we're looking at for where you would go.
Yep.
If you took off at an airfield, I'll let you name the airfield.
Yep.
What towns could they look up on a map?
Okay, so a few of the places that we very frequently use as turn points. So, for example, if we're taking off from Beverley Airfield, Dowran, Wildcatcham, Doodlakine, Condit, Burracoppin, Corrigan, all those little towns out in the wheat belt can be used as turn points for our tasks. Narrogin is further south, so we use probably more southern towns like Kojonup, Wickerpin, Williams, Darkin, Lake Grace, Hyden.
So you can go and have a look on a map and see just what that looks like on a map.
Yep, you can.
Point them out.
So
and where would people go if they wanted to see some actual results?
Okay, so there is a website called Soaring Spot. So www.soaring, SOARING SOARINGspot.com, and that will show you results for not only our WA comps, but comps all over Australia and the world. Most competitions all over the world are put on that website.
They've got a monopoly by the sound of things.
Yeah, it seems like that. I don't think the Americans use Soaring Spot. I'm not sure why though. But yeah, I think they have their own ways of putting results for competitions on websites.
And if someone wanted to get into the game, You've already talked a little bit about getting your wings.
Yep.
After that, is there something you need to do to start competition?
Well, I'd say just once you've got your wings and you've gone solo at your chosen club, hopefully you choose Narrogin if you want to start learning to fly. A little plug for the local club. If you keep going and once you've gone solo, you can get your A certificate, your B certificate and your C certificate. So those certificates rely on different things. So I think A certificate's quite easy. It's 5 solo flights. And then B certificate, I'm not sure what that is. It might be 20 solo flights and 1 flight over half an hour's duration or something. So once you've worked through those, that's when you start concentrating on your cross-country goals if you want to go into cross-country. And then so your next certificate is your Silver C. So what you might do is work on your ABC certificate and then do some coaching with a cross-country coach. And he might take you for a few short cross-country flights just to show you the basics. And once you feel comfortable, you can have a go at getting your Silver C, which is a 50-kilometre flight, which is it's quite daunting for your first time to go away from the airfield where if you get low, you have to land away from the airfield on your own. But 50 kilometres isn't really too far in the whole scheme of things.
Not when you're talking up to 600 Ks in a competition. So.
Yeah, that's right. And some guys have flown up to 1,000 kilometres in one flight. In Australia, 1,300 kilometres.
Wow.
I think the record for distance flying is up over 2,000 kilometres. But that's done on a different sort of lift. It's done on the lift that come off the mountains in New Zealand.
In New Zealand?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that record was in New Zealand. I could be wrong, but I think, yeah, the distance record still remains in New Zealand. I'm not too sure.
Man, you'd be away from the land at 2,000 kilometres.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they do their tasks a bit differently too, see, because they just run up and down a big long mountain ridge. It's just straight lines, up, down, up, down.
Ah, okay.
Whereas in the cross-country we do in the wheat belt, we normally do like triangle courses.
So, yeah, the territory is very different.
Yeah, that's right.
What about getting access to a glider? What are the options there?
So the club that I belong to, and each club in WA has their own gliders, which they hire out, and it's stupidly cheap. You know, I think a twin-seat glider costs $1 a minute to hire. The expensive part is getting towed up. So that can cost anywhere between $40 to about $80, I think, depending on how high they tow you. But aeroplanes are damn expensive to run.
Yeah, there's a lot of regulation around it that always pumps the price up.
Maintenance isn't getting any cheaper. Fuel's not getting any cheaper. We're just lucky that at these gliding clubs that all the labour is voluntary. The tow pilots are all volunteers. The instructors that teach you how to fly are all volunteers. The coaches that coach cross country, yeah, everyone. Even the guy that runs your wing when you're taking off, everyone's volunteer. So
yeah,
very
if
important.
you've not seen a photo of a glider, most of them these days just one wheel underneath the cockpit, more or less.
Yep. So we have one wheel underneath the tail and one pretty much underneath your bum. And once you land, your wing just sort of tilts and drops on the ground. So
Right.
when you're taking off, you need someone to run with your wing level until you pick up enough airspeed for it to stay up.
Lucky they don't have to push, eh?
Yeah. I think there are a few clubs over in Europe that actually push them down a hill and they end up flying off the side of a hill.
Oh, wow. That could be exhilarating and scary at the same time.
I reckon it might be more scary than exhilarating.
Is there any more that you might want to say that we maybe missed?
Oh, I think we've pretty much covered cross-country and competitions and how it's all voluntary and, yeah, the social aspect of gliding, I guess that's another thing. There's a good camaraderie. And if, you know, you need to get out and have a social life, gliding's a good way of doing that as well. You're all there enjoying the same thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? How sports that don't require you to bump into each other,
Yes.
the camaraderie is right up there.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, there's other facets of gliding too. If you're more interested in tinkering with things mechanically, you can go into sort of the maintenance side of gliding. That is very interesting as well. Pulling gliders down, stripping them apart, seeing how they work, repairing them. A lot of gliders now are made out of fiberglass and different composites, carbon fibre. And the skills that are required to fix these things when they're broken, they're getting less and less. So even if you're a guy that just likes tinkering in the shed, but also has a rough interest in aeroplanes, I mean, gliding could be for you in that facet as well.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, we've talked about maintenance and those sorts of things, but yeah, getting involved. So there's a team doing that, is there?
Yeah, so the club's got a team of what they call Form 2 inspectors, which just means that they're qualified to do the annual flight inspections on these aeroplanes. I think in the club there might be about 15 odd members that have their rating to pull gliders apart and do inspections. So yeah, every year I think they look for volunteers that want to do the club fleet of gliders, pull them apart and check that they're okay, fix anything that might be wrong.
So that's a great opportunity for people, I think.
Yeah. There's so many different aspects of how the club runs. Yeah, there's obviously different things you can do if you like gliding, but you want to do other stuff as well.
Like any club, that's a people organisation. And you've probably got a president and a committee.
That's
and
right, yes.
All those things as well. So
Yep. We've got a group of committee members and president, secretary, vice president. I think we've got about 80 members all up. Beverley's huge. They've probably got nearly 200 members, but I just like Narrogin because it's a smaller, tight-knit sort of atmosphere.
when there's a more defined group, it's easier to get to know more of them better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
No worries,
Ash, for
Paul.
being on Forest.chat, and all our Forest.chat listeners wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Thank you very much, and thank you, listeners, for listening to me blab on about something I like. Paul and I are doing the parkrun walk at this time and concentrating on walking and trying to explain gliding, which is something I've learned over, the last 20 years. It's quite difficult, but I hopefully you get the gist.
You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vanderbay, and in today's episode, we've been talking with Ash Boyle about competition gliding. Remember, there are 4 ways to get involved with Forest.chat. Share the domain Forest.chat with your friends and family and people you meet. When you sign up for emails, you get advance notice of episodes. Listen to the episodes at forest.chat/episodes. If you do something interesting, or you know somebody who does something interesting, book an interview at forest.chat/interview. If you want to support a small business, book an advert at forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you with our next guest. Until then, enjoy making it happen.